Okay, so to begin the DIY, I'm going to take my 4 frames or wall decor and I'm going to turn it to the back and remove the jute twine that is attached to the back. And I'm just going to use my scissors and just cut those off. Okay, so now to assemble my lantern. I've just tacked the canvases in place with some painter's tape. I just wanted to show you the way that I put the canvases together. What I'm going to do is place my first canvas, butt it up to the second one, and then that third one is not going to be even with the first one over here. It's going to be over to the side so that it butts up in front of this second canvas, and then the last canvas will finish off, butt up to this one, and then it will be on the inside of that first canvas. By doing it this way, you're getting more of a square. When I did the other lantern, it was a little bit more rectangular. Not a lot, but just a little. It wasn't a perfect square. So I'm going to take my E6000 glue as well as my hot glue, glue this all together, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so now my wall decor is all glued together to make the middle of the lantern. Now with this lantern, I do want a top and a base. So for the top, I will be using this grilling wok that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. And this will be the top of the lantern. Now it's not complete like that, but this is the next step. And for the base of the lantern, I will be using one of these square picture frames. It fits a 5x7 and two 2.5 by 3.5 pictures, but it is a square frame. Now I also want to add a little bit of wood to this lantern to give it more of a farmhouse feel. Now I think with the grilling wok, we have the metal, which I love that. And to the top of the grilling wok, as well to the perimeter of the frame, I'm going to add some of the tumbling blocks that the Dollar Tree sells. So to start with the top of the lantern on top of the grilling wok, I just took some blocks and I centered the blocks to the center of the lantern. So I have 3 rows of holes on the top and 3 rows on the bottom, as well as I have 2 rows of holes on each side. So that's fairly centered. Now I noticed that when I first was buying these tumbling blocks, they came all in the lighter color. Now the new tumbling blocks that I'm seeing have a mixture of the light as well as this brown. If you don't like the mixture, you can always paint them so that they're all the same. Or if you do want to use them this way, just make sure that you evenly space out the plain blocks or the lighter blocks with the brown blocks so that you get a nicer look. So I'm going to build this up to about 4 to 5 rows, and then once that is done, I will work on the base. Okay, so now with my last row of blocks, I will be placing the 2 that are in the center a little bit in. So I will place this top block about halfway on the one below it and then glue that down. Okay, so now to add some blocks to the base of the lantern, and they will be glued onto the frame. Now the frame is square, so there will be the same amount of blocks on each side of the frame. So what I used here was 15 blocks, and I did lay them out first just to evenly space out the colors and make some sort of a pattern. Now I will glue these first side by side to each other to make one long strip, and once I've made that strip, I will then turn it up and then glue it onto each side of the frame. Now there is a gap at the beginning and the end, but that's okay because once the strips are glued in place, I will take a few more tumbling blocks and finish off those. Okay, so I have made all my pieces for the outer portion of the base of the frame. Now, the way I was going to glue these on was I was actually going to take each piece and then glue it, butt it up to the outside of the frame. So like that. So that this wood was flush with the frame. But in doing it this way, I would have had a gap in every corner, which I would have then taken 3 pieces of the tumbling blocks, glued them together, and then had these as a corner piece for each corner. And I think it would have really came out nice. But what I ended up discovering when I placed these together was that if I glued each piece right on top of the frame, so if I glue them right here, then I will be able to place all of them, assembling them in the same way that I did the base of the lantern with the wall decor pictures. If I place them in the exact same way and glue them together, then they will all fit perfectly on this frame. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This way I will be able to see below the blocks the outer edge of the frame, which I think will look really nice. So I'm going to go ahead, take my E6000 glue and my hot glue, and then assemble these pieces all around the perimeter of the frame. Okay, so at this point, I have decided that I'm going to wrap the blocks that are at the very top of the lantern in the jute twine. Now, I love how these blocks came out at the base of the lantern around the edge of the picture frame. I don't know if it's because these ones are going up and down and these ones are going across. It just doesn't seem like it sits right with me. So if you decide to do this, you could always paint these blocks in the same to match the grilling walk here on the bottom, or paint it a different color altogether. But again, I'm just going to wrap all of the blocks in the jute twine. Off my lantern, I want to add an ornament to the very top just to give it a little bit more height and to make it a little bit more prettier. So the ornament that I chose is this one here, and I think it is just beautiful. It glitters so wonderfully, and I think it will just make a nice complement to this lantern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply my E6000 glue as well as my hot glue and just place this right on top of the blocks. But before I do that, I actually went ahead, and this may be optional for you, but I made a little hole at the bottom of the ornament. To make this hole, I just took my hot glue gun, I applied it to the back, added pressure, and you know, with a little bit of time, that heat will break through the plastic. Now it is a harder plastic, so you do need a little bit of patience, but you will break through the plastic. Then to clean it up, I just took my utility knife and then I just scraped inside that hole just to widen it a little bit, and as I said, just to give it a cleaner finish. Now, with the lighting, you can use the copper wire LED lights or a regular mini light set. Now, either one, you will be able to insert some lighting into the inside of this ornament to light it up. If you're using the copper wire LED lights, you will be able to insert much more wire to light it up a lot more. But if you're using the mini light set, then the hole is big enough that when you insert your lights to the inside of the lantern, you can take one of the lights and then just place it in the hole and it'll light up the inside of the ornament also. Now when you apply your lights to the inside of the lantern, you can do it two ways. You could take an LED flameless candle from the Dollar Tree and you can wrap your wire or light set, whichever one you're using, around the candle, and this way you have quite a bit of lighting. You'll have the flickering from the candle, and then you'll have the lights coming through from your light set. Or you could take your light set and then tape it to the back of the wall decor. This way you're really seeing the light coming through. You can place the lights wherever you want, so if there's certain spots that you want lit up, it really gives it a nice effect as well. The choice really is yours, whichever look you like better. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this to the top, insert my lights, and then I will show you the final reveal of my winter farmhouse lantern. Okay everyone, so I have glued on my ornament. Now being that I did wrap the blocks in the jute twine, I think that I'm going to continue gluing the jute twine all the way around the top until it butts up to the edge of the ornament. I think that is going to finish off this lantern really nicely. So once I've completed doing that, I will insert the lights into the lantern and I will be ready to show you the final look to this winter farmhouse lantern. Okay, so I decided to add one more step. Now this was not in the original plan for this lantern, but I think it is a good one and I will explain it more in depth when I show you the final reveal. All I'm showing you right here is that I did decide to add two handles to the bottom tray. And the way I made this was I took 3 tumbling blocks and I glued them together like this. I placed one in the center and then one on each side. Now I did use E6000 glue as well as hot glue to adhere these together. After that, once it dries, I just took some jute twine and I'm just going to wrap this top section here of the handle because I really want to make sure that this is not going to come apart, and by wrapping the jute twine around and adding some more glue, it's just going to hold it together more securely. So I'm going to finish wrapping this one as well the other one, then I will glue it to the center of each side of the lantern. And then I promise I will show you the final completed project. Alright everyone, so here is my farmhouse, my winter farmhouse lantern. And I absolutely love, love, love how this one has turned out. I'm so glad the way the wood and the metal and the jute twine and that little bit of black from the edge of the frame all works together to give this piece a really nice farmhouse rustic look. Now I'm going to insert 3 pictures showing you how I use this lantern in 3 different ways. I really am glad that I didn't end up gluing the whole thing together, or at least the center and the top, because this way it really does become a more versatile piece. And the tray, I'm so glad I ended up deciding to add some handles to it because I really think it finishes off the tray. As well, with the tray, I have left the metal tabs on the back, so it is great for inserting pictures if you're using it as a tray so that you can display them, or just adding really pretty paper or fabric. You can really dress it up in many different ways. The lights on the inside, I simply use the copper wire LED lights. It works perfectly with this piece because you really can add more or fewer lights to the top inside of the ornament to really brighten up the top of the lantern, which I absolutely love. If you don't have the LED copper wire lights, you can definitely use any mini light set. The Dollar Tree sells many of them. You just want to make sure that you don't have the mini sets that have the hooks attached to the light, because with the size of hole that I made using my mini glue gun, it wouldn't fit. But definitely there are smaller lights, mini sets that don't have anything around the outside of the light would work perfectly for this as well. So that, I guess, will do it for this DIY. I am so glad that I ended up completing this project. I have made a farmhouse lantern before, however, I really wanted to make a winter one, and this one here is different than the previous one that I made. It is specific for winter, but again, I'm glad that I did it so that I can remove the centerpiece and then just use the other 2 pieces on their own, or for the winter months, I have a beautiful lantern that I can display in my home that I'm so happy and glad that of the way that it turned out. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And as always, guys, you take care of yourselves, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.